So let me create a quick control system. I'm going to go to the front view, turn my grid back on, and I'm going to create a somewhat of a star controller. So I'm going to go create curves, go to the EP curve tool and snap to my grid. Actually, that is wrong. That's not the tool I want. Well, that is the tool I want, but I just want to make sure I'm using a linear instead of, I think it was on 3 cubic. So I'm going to hold down X and snap to my grid so I can create a multi-directional controller. Okay, so that's a multi-directional controller. I'm going to go into my view, go modify, center pivot, and then I do want to return it to world. Find my way to world, 0, 0. So I'm about to use a interesting constraining approach. Well, not interesting, an offset parent matrix constraining approach. So I'm going to size this down just a little bit, just so it's a good size, and I can really change its size when it gets to where it's supposed to be. But as is, now I'm going to go modify freeze transforms. All right, and I'm going to connect it in the same way I did my proxy meshes. I'm going to take an approach very similar to that. But because I contemplate that I might use this control for something else later, I'm going to create a default one at home. And what I'm actually going to do is just group it twice at world. All right, and I'm just going to leave it here. I'm going to duplicate this entire system and then just hide the original, just so I can come back and use it. And the way this grouping system is going to work is as such. This one over here is going to have a connection from the world parent matrix of the chest, because this is going to be a breast controller that's connected to the cluster. So I'm going to call this breast tissue CTRL tissue OPM const. So this is just a way of me identifying it as a group that is going to be constrained via offset parent matrix approach. I'll call it GRP. And I'll call this breast tissue. I should actually do CTRL and then what this actually does. And I'll call this positioner GRP. And for the sake of clarity, let me try this rename again. Control OPM constraint. I'm really all over the place with these naming conventions. Okay, so that stands for offset parent matrix constraint. And I also need an identifier for the side it's going to be controlling. So I'm going to call this one left, and definitely duplicate a copy for the right side. And this will just be breast tissue left CTRL. All right, so with this system created, I will duplicate it and just prepare this one for the right side that I'll be doing off screen. So I'll just call it right, right, right. All right, so now it's time to connect this to the chest. All right, so I'm going to open the node editor, go window, node editor, clear the graph to get a fresh scene. And I'm going to grab the chest joint. I'm going to add it in here, open it in preparation. I'm going to select this parent group, and I'm going to also add it in here. And what I'm looking to do is connect the world matrix to the offset parent parameter of this parent group. So I'm going to grab the world matrix, connect it to the offset parent matrix. And what this should do is snap the control to the chest. Right, so the control right now is over there. All right, and it doesn't matter how it orients it, because I'm going to rely on this positioner to get it oriented in the way I want. So now I can select the positioner and I can move the positioner out. Get it in a position that makes sense for it to control this breast tissue. So maybe there. And I should probably go into the... It doesn't really matter. You can be a little slightly off with the positioning. It's not really a big deal. As long as the main control that it's housing underneath it has 0 transforms, that's all that matters. And we can come here at any point in time and keep playing with this positioner. As a matter of fact, I will store, well, I'll come over here to look to count on the values I have here to set the other side. All right, so this will be our breast tissue control, and I think that's enough positioning for now. Let's focus on connecting it to that cluster. But also another thing I should do immediately, or what I should have done immediately, was show you that it is in fact now constrained correctly. So if we select the chest and rotate, see it's attached to the chest correctly. If I was to switch to IK mode and use my IK controller. All right, so it's working. It's all really important though that we chose relative, because if not, we'd have had some really weird behavior after creating this connection. All right, so let me go back to FK mode. And now to set up this connection, I will go to the connection editor. It's a really simple connection. So I'll go Window, General Editors, Connection Editor, load my control in here, reload left, and I will load my cluster on the other side. Now this is a very simple connection. I just want to connect all the transforms to the transform. And let me actually see if this control is worth having rotation capabilities. Yeah, I might as well connect rotation too. Scale is pretty useless, so I'll leave scale alone. But translation and rotation. So let's start with translate. Let me go translate here and just connect translate to translate. And I think that should be it. If we come over here and move this control, this is one downside to not ensuring that the orientation of the control is the same as the orientation of the cluster, because it is moving the cluster now, but it's just that the orientations are not the same. So I'm going to go back to rely on my positioner. So let me grab my cluster, take a look at it. Yeah, and it looks like I should rotate my positioner 90 degrees just so I can match the orientation of the cluster. So I get just it echoing the correct kind of behavior. Let me try to get this as close as possible. So now if I move this up, it should move the cluster up, down moves the cluster down. That all looks correct. Left and right. Yeah, and that's a simple cluster control. One more thing I want to connect is the rotation, because I did say the rotation looks like it could be worth something. So connect rotate to rotate. And now if I rotate, it should give me the correct behavior. Actually, now that I think about it, the repositioning of the positioner did not impact anything, even though it was connected, because I have relative checked. So this is a perfect scenario where you need that because it's the parent of the control, but this cluster is set to relative. A control controlling the control that's controlling the cluster will not have the ability to do anything when it moves, just the thing directly connected to the cluster. So anyway, that's this very simple connection here to control the breast tissue. Before I do the other side, there is one thing that I have not been diligent about, and that's locking and hiding parameters that I don't want to be messed with. So with this control, I definitely, for now, do not want scale. So I'm going to lock and hide scale. And then for this, I'm going to just lock it for now, hide it later, because I want to look at these parameters when I set up the other side. So for now, I'm just going to lock them so no keys can be set on them. So I'll go lock selected. But for the OPM group on top of it, I am going to go lock and hide. Select everything and lock and hide selected. All right, so it's out of view. And if you by mistake hit the up key, you just can't go around playing with the positioner. All right, so that's a simple breast tissue control via an intermediary blend shape. All right, I'm going to set up the other side, and then we're going to move to the sculpt deformer stuff. One more thing before I go, I am going to save this bookmark. Well, I could wait to just get the second one done and save them, but usually what I like to do, because just in case I make a mistake and clear this graph, I just like to save them with increments. So if I was to save a bookmark, I'd go create bookmark, and in this case, I'm going to call it breast tissue cluster CTRL bookmark. And then after I make updates to it, I'll call it bookmark 2 and just delete the old one, which is this one. But this is just to make sure I can secure this so that I don't lose it. Because when you clear it and I try to come back, and it'll have things listed in view that I don't want, and I'm going to have to go clear them. So anyway, you know, the importance of bookmarks. I don't need to do too much explaining.